Shortly after the U.S. test fired an intercontinental ballistic missile, the Russian president has ordered his top officials to prepare for possible nuclear tests. On Wednesday, in fact, the U.S. Air Force launched the intercontinental ballistic missile from the Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. It traveled thousands of miles before landing near the Army's Ronald Reagan Ballistic Missile Defense Test Site in the Marshall Islands. Part of America's so-called nuclear triad, the missile can be launched from land-based silos, submarines, or bombers, and serves as one leg of the U.S. nuclear deterrent. The missile is designed to be launched in retaliation for a nuclear attack. It comes less than a week after President Trump directed the Pentagon to start testing nuclear weapons on an equal basis with Russia and China. In fact, following the test firing of the missile, Putin convened a meeting of Russia's Security Council, saying his government would consider resuming nuclear tests if the U.S. does so.
Russia has always strictly adhered to its obligations under Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, and we have no plans to withdraw from them. At the same time, as I stated in my address to the Federal Assembly in 2023, should the United States or other treaty signatories conduct such tests, Russia would be compelled to take appropriate reciprocal measures.
Putin has ordered his defense and foreign ministers to gather information and draft proposals for possible test preparations, potentially at the Arctic test site on Novaya Zemlya. Russia has not conducted a nuclear test since 1990, the final year of the Soviet Union.
I am instructing the Foreign Ministry, the Ministry of Defense, the Special Services, and the relevant civilian agencies to do everything necessary to collect additional information on this issue, analyze it within the framework of the Security Council, and make agreed proposals on the possible start of work on the preparations for nuclear weapons testing.
During the meeting, the Secretary of the Security Council said that the U.S. is planning underground nuclear tests, while the defense minister told Putin that the U.S. stance made it advisable to prepare for full-scale nuclear tests immediately. And for more on all of these developments, we earlier spoke to Peter Kusnik. He is professor of history and director of the Nuclear Studies Institute at the American University. Here's what he told us.
This is a long-planned nuclear test. It's not a nuclear test, it's a missile test. Under the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty, all sides are allowed to test delivery systems. This is a test of a delivery system. It is not a nuclear weapons test. What Trump threatened recently was that the U.S. would begin nuclear weapons tests. But Secretary of Energy Chris Wright walked that back and said, we're not talking about nuclear weapons tests. Trump made a series of false statements when he announced that. So nobody knows what he's really talking about. And the assumption is that Trump doesn't know what he's talking about. He said the U.S. has the biggest arsenal. The U.S. doesn't have the biggest nuclear arsenal. He said that the U.S. would be conducting the same nuclear tests that China and India are conducting. Well, those are not nuclear weapons tests. I mean, the level of ignorance there is a little frightening, given the fact that this man has access to the nuclear codes and has the power to end life on the planet. You would rather see, you don't want to see anybody having that much power, but you'd much rather see it in the hands of somebody who's stable, rational, not impulsive, and not easily triggered.